Morning. If I missed you, but my apologies. So, okay, so it's been a crazy day. We're going to get to what's brewing. But before we do that, I will go to my mug, which, by the way, I'm not even drinking the coffee anymore. I am so beyond coffee at this point. I am on to a Diet Coke. Yes, today it is my friends from Chick-fil-A. Mostly because that is my son's favorite. I also am on a mission today. My husband has challenged me with a goal, which is to encourage everyone to like and subscribe. We're going to see how many of those we get today. I don't know. It's a game he's playing. So
I want 30.
He wants 30. Okay. I don't know. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. That will help us. Plus, I can win. I don't know what I win if I win, but anyway.
Me not being surly.
I win, Eric not being surly. Yeah. So apologies for the appearance today. Like seriously. What?
I'll see why in a second.
Yeah. It's been a mess. So my apologies for the appearance, for my Heart and Home Orlando. I cannot be a weatherman. It's over here. There it is. The Heart and Home Orlando shirt. It's just been a bit of a crazy one. So let's go ahead and get to what's brewing. And all of you that have just joined in over the last second, good morning. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. You're going to be so tired of hearing me say that during this one. All right, so let's get to what's brewing because there's a lot happening. Okay, so, all right, Eric, I'm not going to touch anything, but could you move that so I can see my screen better? Yes. I'm afraid to touch anything now. Like, I thought I was touching the right button, and it was not. Okay. All right, so our what's brewing topics for today, which, by the way, were changed at the last minute. Horizon West Hospital. You might ask, whoa, Horizon West Hospital, what does that mean? Well, let me just tell you that this is what it means. So
everything's fine. Say that first.
Everything's fine. Everything is fine. We're home, back in time for coffee time. My son was at the ER this morning. He had very early was making a bowl of cereal. We bought these really awesome, by the way, when we did our family VIP tour at Disney. We told everyone they could get a treat or whatever, treat, like my kids are 3. You can get a lollipop. They could get something. Most of them were like, we don't really need anything, don't want anything, But what we found at the big gift shop were these giant cereal bowls. There were Toy Story cereal bowls, and they're super thick with a big, thick handle. Had Woody on the front of it. So we almost, like all the guys, got one of those. I'm like, hey, it's a giant bowl. You could do your cereal. You could do your soup or whatever. Anyway, in his room, he actually has a sink and a little mini kitchenette, little wet bar area. He was washing his bowl at the crack of dawn this morning, and it slipped out of his hand, and it fell on the granite in front of the sink. And when it did that, it cut his wrist. So he comes into the bedroom this morning going, I've cut my wrist. I think we need stitches. So we're freaking out. So we were at the ER. He's fine.
I was not freaking out. I was calm and heroic.
You were calm and heroic.
A lot of people would use the word hero, but
they would use that. So special thanks to Dr. Cheese Brew for taking such great care of him. It was 4 stitches. It was big, chunky. I mean, honestly, I don't know what it would have been if it had been like a thinner bowl, like how that would have affected where it cut him on the wrist. But at any rate, we're just super grateful that is over. That was at a little after 6 this morning, I think.
And hospital review. Yeah,
hospital review. They were amazing. I mean, honestly, we were in and out in an hour-ish, a little over an hour.
Maybe less.
Eric actually drove him there while I threw on clothes and scooted out right behind him to get over there. But yeah, it was, I mean, all things considered, the hospital wasn't busy. The ER wasn't busy, or ED, I guess, wasn't busy. So it was all, it went well, put it that way. So he's okay. He's okay. He's fine. He's got 4 stitches. He'll be fine. It's all good.
He already is fine. Yeah.
He's already fine. He's in the other room, but still a little not a great way to wake up on a Monday morning. So my apologies for that. Eric is raising his hand.
Just health update. Other people have been so nice in comments and things. They just want to check on your back.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yes, I did. I noticed that. Yes, thank you. Because last Monday that I had slipped? Oh, my gosh. So Mondays are not my day. Yes, I am fine. Actually, it's just now starting to, like yesterday, I didn't really feel it. If I sit a certain way, like if I'm trying to get all comfy and I like kind of cross my legs or tuck my legs up under me or something, at that point I can feel the little spot in my booty that that I fell on. Other than that, I am good. But thank you very much. That really is, everybody's very sweet to reach out and ask. So I am good. My son is good. Everybody is good. But yeah, hospital review this morning, ER visit, crack of dawn. Very efficient, in and out, all good to go. So that was the first West Brewing. So yes, that was it. There was only a picture of him, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're good there. So let's move on to the second West Brewing, which is, what is it? Heatwave. Okay, so here's why we're going to talk about. I didn't know he had that. Do it again. Eric, oh my gosh. Okay, so here is our forecast over the next week. 92 degrees, 95, 92, 95, 95. Now keep in mind, this is probably our first full week of true hot summer temperatures. And our humidity is high. So it is very thick. And by the way, this is still June, right? So we still have July and August to go. But this is where it is going to start to be really important for those of you who either live here, who have just moved here, and you're going to be experiencing your first, full-fledged summer here, or if you're, coming in town to visit. It really is important to kind of note a few of these things because there's some things that we need to do here just for our all the time. Everywhere you go here, if you go to a new construction community, would you like some water? If you're going, to the park, sometimes there's just water everywhere. So it's really important to stay hydrated. That really is true. Always keep extra water. In my opinion, always keep extra waters in your car because even if they're not cold waters, they will be water. And I will tell you.
Might be muted.
Muted?
I don't know. Let's see.
I don't know. He says I'm muted.
No, I think you're back.
Am I muted?
Just when you go to the thing, you're muted. So,
oh, okay.
Wait, my fault. Just do this and I'll.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, am I better now?
Now you're better.
Okay, Eric says I was muted during this. Okay, so, all right, so let me just backtrack that a little bit. So these are a few ways to beat the heat. They're pretty much commonsensical, but I will tell you that it's really important in Florida for you to make sure that you kind of pay attention to these. So again, going back, the first one is to stay hydrated. And what I was saying is that pretty much everywhere you go, they're going to be offering you water. One of my tips is to keep water in your car. When you go to the store and you buy the big things of water, throw several bottles in the back of your, the trunk or somewhere and just keep them there for an emergency. I always keep a couple extra in the little side thing just because you never know, right? You just never know when you're going to need it. I was with clients once. True story. We had just finished their pre-drywall walkthrough, I believe, and they were from out of state and they had a lot of questions. So once we finished our walkthrough with the builder, we just kind of drove our car up to the end of the street, little cul-de-sac to get out of the construction vehicle's way. And we just stood outside of our cars and we were just talking for a little bit. And then I got so lightheaded and dizzy that I actually I had to open my door and I had to sit down because I thought I was going to pass out. And a lot of it's just you're just standing there and you're sweating and it's kind of that distracts me every time you do that.
I'll stop.
It is not a day to play that, my friend. Anyway, so point is, it really can come on you very unexpectedly and quickly. So it's important to make sure you have some of that extra water with you.
It mutes it every time.
It mutes me every time. All right, so maybe
I'll and then go back and then be done.
Maybe I'll just kind of keep talking while this graphic is up. So sunblock, super important. Just to make sure you also have some of that in your car. Although I do suggest you put it in a Ziploc bag because it can ooze out when it starts to bake in the summer. But it's important to just have some sunblock, maybe a little spray. The spray kind is pretty good to keep in your car just for emergency purposes. For lots of men and women who do good skincare routine, make sure that you have a lotion with some sunblock. And it sounds silly because there's so many people that are like, oh, I'm fine. Yeah, please just put the sunblock on with your lotion. I actually just switched to one and it's hard because I'm a creature of habit and I have had my same face lotion forever and ever, and it doesn't have sunblock. So if I can do it, you can do it. All right, number 3 is dress for it. You'll see a lot of workers and people out here. We wear hats a lot, whether it's a ball cap or whether it's a big old hat with a big brim. Don't be embarrassed to wear it. It's kind of important for this area. The 4th one is just kind of stay inside. That's one of the things here. Think about if you live up north and it's freezing cold and there's snow outside and you kind of have to stay inside because you don't want to battle the elements. Okay, well, it's just the reverse here. It's just super, super hot. So if you like to go for walks, you're going to need to change your routine and do those either early in the morning or late in the evening. Or number 5, after it rains, because pretty much every single day this time of year in Florida, around 3 o'clock, you're going to get a thunderstorm. It's usually pretty quick and painless. Sometimes they can be intense, but they're kind of in and out. And so that's another good time to go for a walk, not during the storm, but afterwards, because the temperature drops. And then, of course, stay well. Make sure that you see a doctor if you have any chills, if you stop sweating, if you have a temperature, if you get dizzy, things like that. If your body is feeling off, you need to take a minute and kind of, reset yourself and rehydrate yourself and, cool off a little bit. So
can I push the button one more time?
You can push the button one more time.
Okay, we have 26 likes.
26 likes. Okay, like and subscribe if you haven't already, because we're at 26 and Eric's goal is 30. I don't know what happens at 30, but nothing. Okay. Well, then what's the motivation for our dear friends?
Because more than we usually get.
Because we love you.
I'll be happy.
Oh, Eric will be happy. Please, God, please. Okay, so let's go on. So then our third is I got everything for the heat wave, right? So the third one is Gator Water. Okay, so we were out the other day. I'll tell you about this before we scooch over to it. We were out the other day. We have some listings coming up, and so we were out kind of driving through some of the communities to get some exterior photos to put together the valuations, doing our normal real estate stuff. And at the end of one of the streets, there's this cul-de-sac. And so as we were looping around, we see something giant. Do we want to go to that one?
You want to go to that one?
I go to that one. Okay, so there it is. There is a big old boy. And I have to tell you, that one is giant. Like, I don't know how big that is out of the water, but I also tell you that I don't want to see it out of the water. So this is just going to kind of keep looping. But here's the thing that, we talk about it, and we're going to talk about, I'm going to show you the little clip where we happen to talk about it on the Sunday Drive. But in this particular case, that's a pond, right? I don't know how or where else it could go to get to a larger body of water. But because it's in a cul-de-sac and there's like some community benches around it with the signs that say, don't feed the gators and, snakes and things like that. But that could be the situation where when you see those crazy news stories, we're like, I don't know, they woke up one day and there was a gator in their backyard. Well, I can see why in this particular case. In my opinion, that one needs to be relocated.
Gina, our friend and client, said they have an 8-foot gator in that community. She said that might be it. So that might be it. That might be the 8-foot gator.
Gina, if you're watching, if you've got that one and an 8-foot one,
I think that's fine. The tail's really long.
Yeah, they are, but those are pretty big ones. So for those of you who aren't super familiar with, what happens? Everyone's worried about gators. Okay, so as we say before, in Florida, if you see water, you need to assume that there's an alligator in it. That doesn't mean be scared of it. It just means be safe, be cautious. Don't go swimming in a pond. Don't go hanging out at the edge of the pond. But usually, like in the community that we used to live in before we, built this home, there was a pond in our backyard, and we did have little tiny gators. Every once in a while, there'd be a little one. But when they, eventually you would get the people would come out and they would get the gator and they would relocate it to, where it's supposed to be. That's a big one. And the fact that it hasn't been relocated yet is a little bit concerning to me. But anyway, all right. So on that note, do you want me to go to the little clip of our...
Here's a clip of
so we did our Sunday drive. I guess yesterday was Sunday. Yeah. I don't know. So yesterday was Sunday. So this was a little bit of the Sunday drive where we actually came across the gator, which kind of prompted a little bit of this conversation.
Gators, candidly, are not... So first of all, Floridians are like, gators, we don't worry about gators that much. We also don't worry about lightning. But lightning way more dangerous than gators. But I don't know why that came into my head. But I'm like, we're crazy because gators. You don't hear about gator attacks all the time, but you hear about lightning strikes all the time. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing to worry about. But if you're worried about gators, don't be by the water at sundown. Yep. Don't feed the gators, and just don't go near them. They're not, generally speaking, not going to bother you if you don't bother them.
True.
So anyway.
Okay, so that was a little bit of the Sunday drive. Now look over here at this picture. Do you see the lightning? This is literally from our backyard. I don't know, it was last night. And what's interesting, and so with lightning, there's this little saying. I actually heard one of our weather forecasters, weathermen, women, say it on TV here. And I honestly, I tell all my clients, I think it's super important when it comes to lightning. If you hear it, fear it. If you see it, flee it. And that's really important, especially if you have kids that are outside playing, because again, it's Florida, so a lot of people are outside, they're hanging out. We've talked about this before, so I'm not going to harp on it, but like that was a big one. When our son played soccer at the soccer fields, they would have this alarm, this bell that would go off, which basically indicated that there was lightning somewhere near us. And so they would have to clear the field and you have to wait 30 minutes, and the schools have that 30-30 policy. But anyway, so this is just showing you, this was last night. And by the way, it wasn't raining. We did not have a big superstorm, but these clouds are directly over top of Disney. So this is what we talk about when we talk about lightning. I think Florida has the most lightning strikes of any other place in the country, right? Anyway, so that being said, that's just kind of an important little thing for you to kind of note. So alligators, don't feed them, don't hang out under sunset. And then, of course, when the lightning, that's a little bit of a different topic, but that's more common. What is this one? Okay, Allie says, what did she say?
We were asking about the likes.
Oh, the likes. Yeah. So Eric says we're at how many now?
We're at 32 last time I looked.
We're at 32 the last time you looked. So, but this is why it's important. Allie says, I know the answer to this one. Liking the stream and subscribing boosts the stream in the YouTube algorithm, helping these streams reach more folks living in or moving to Disney's backyard. So, yay. Thank you, Lala. So that's great. Yeah, that's exactly, I guess that's why we need to have the likes and subscribes. Yeah. I don't know. I just talk and I just sell houses and help people buy houses and know all this stuff. So all of that, all of those little side pieces are super duper important as well. So thank you. So go to this one.
Just for Susie Q say.
Susie Q, good morning all. Happy Monday. We have walls and a roof on our build.
Yay.
It is so exciting. Yesterday, again, we fit everything in. So there is no schedule to our life. So for all of you, friends and family and clients who are like, let's go to dinner, let's go do that. There's just no uniform schedule that we have other than coffee time on Mondays. And by the way, the fact that you're getting me here every Monday at 9 a.m. is pretty fantastic, because I didn't think this would work either. But it was no, I didn't, because I was like, I can't commit to something because I don't know. What if a client needs me? But
you know why they keep coming back? Great content like this.
But anyway, so Monday morning coffee time is where you can get me. But yesterday we had a photographer and a video for an upcoming listing that's going to go active this week, but later this week, middle of the week. And while we were there, we drove past a community where we had another listing appointment scheduled for tomorrow. So we always take pictures of the house. And then while we were there, we had other clients that were under construction in the same neighborhood. So we jumped out and did a little video and sent them photos and stuff. So, crazy. So Susie, I'm loving that you guys are getting more and more progress on your home. That really is exciting. So love that. Let's see, what is this one? I didn't see this one. Why don't ponds near houses have fencing around them? Jane, you know what? My friend, that is a really good idea. I don't know why. I mean, those are that one was clearly a wet pond, right? That one was absolutely a wet pond all the time. It's always going to stay wet. I personally, I think that's a great idea. I don't know why that's not part of what the builders do, but keep in mind, it's their environment too, right? So if we put a fence around it, they're either stuck in or they're stuck out, and I don't know that there's a preference to either for those particular creatures, right? Little critters can go in and out of the fence, but when it comes to the alligators, they usually are in the water and then they sun themselves on the bank. And when there's a lot of muck, lots of just growth and grass and weeds and lily pads and conservation stuff, and it's not a clear bank, they're usually not it's too much trouble for them. But that was the perfect kind, because if you notice in that picture, in that video, it was a pond and then you had smooth banks all the way around it. So, but I don't know why they don't do that, or at least why they don't in some of them. All right, so let's head over to Rob has a question. our Gators, love that, more active in warmer weather. Yeah, I mean, I think they're definitely more, yeah, they're definitely more visible because they pop out and they're sunning themselves quite a bit, like we were just talking about, right? If it's a clear pond and then the little kind of little bank right there beside it, then that's usually where they sun themselves, and that's usually as far as they go. It's like they're in the water and they come out and they sun themselves, and then they go back in the water and then they come back out and they sun themselves. It's not often that you see them just wandering around. I mean, usually, they're probably lost and just trying to get back to the water. But at any rate, that was, I will tell you, that was a little bit nerve wracking when we saw it, because Eric's like, oh, let me get out. And I'm like, honey, no. And then when we went back, when did we go back? Because we were gonna see if it was still there the other day, and we couldn't find him. But we're like, I was like, honey, don't walk up, because he could be sunning himself right there on the other side of where the road was. So, because it would dip down. I'm like, let's not just walk up on it, please. Anyway, don't be worried about them. I'm just saying that was a pretty big gator to be in a community. So anyway, all right. So Eric is scrolling because I think there must be a question that he's looking for.
So we say Allie knows nothing, which is kind of
Allie knows. Okay.
Allie knows lots of things.
Allie does know lots of things. Okay. What is Allie saying? Allie says the fencing would have to be permeable anyway to allow the stormwater runoff. So it might be the big ones out, but not the little ones, snakes, etc. I'm wondering, Allie, was this because of your husband? Did he by chance tune in and give you that answer? Or do you know that because you live with a husband who was a stormwater engineer?
Kim, our new Floridian, says.
Well, so here's the thing. Yes, Kim, they can, but I will tell you, that's not nearly as common as, you see one video of one gator doing that, and it's a little bit overwhelming. If it's a chain link fence, super easy for them to climb over because it's easier for them to get their, I was scaring people with these gators. Yeah. It's like, what's it supposed to be this big a gator talk? But so yes, they can climb, and they can climb the black open ones as well, but not as big. And then yes, two more camper vanners. Did you see the clip of the gator squeeze through the railings as if they were made of rubber? Yeah, I did. Yeah. So it can happen. It can happen. So yeah, I think we've all established, back to Jane's question, probably the fences aren't going to help much. In my opinion, it would at least keep kids out, and it would put a barrier there, especially if it was like a toddler who was just running around playing. But at any rate, I guess there's reasons that they don't do that. All right, so going back, are we good? Are we good on that?
I think you should do. Why don't you, in honor of Allie knowing so many things, why don't you go to Allie Knows Nothing?
Sorry. Okay. Did y'all hear that? Eric wants me to go to Allie Knows Nothing because clearly she knows so many things. Because she does. She's actually super wicked smart.
What happens if I buy a home and it turns out there's something wrong with it?
Okay, so true talk. Okay, so that's a great question, Allie. It really is. And it's a question that every client has, I have. And first of all, let's do the resale version, because that one's a very quick, easy answer. If you purchase a resale home, a home that is not being sold as new construction by the actual builder, if it is a resale home, meaning someone else originally bought it and then they are reselling it to someone else. In those cases, when you submit your offer, you have an inspection that you are allowed to do. Now, you're not required to. You can sign off on a disclosure saying, yes, I'm buying the home and I'm waiving the inspection. That has been done. It can be done. Don't suggest it, but it can be done. But most people are going to have a home inspection done on that property. So you have a property, you have the inspection, you look at that thorough inspection report. And as we've talked about before, I always focus on the structural and mechanical aspects of that inspection report for a resale home, because it is typically an as-is contract, meaning that however that home looks and functions is how you are going to be purchasing the home. That's all that the seller is obligated to do, is to show you this is what the home looks like and this is the home you're buying. However, if you have an inspection and there are some issues that are a little bit more concerning in nature, anything that's structural or mechanical, then we can certainly request to the seller that they address these issues, and we communicate that, and we discuss that, and we reach a consensus, and we have all the documentation to prove it, and then you are good. But when you close on that property is yours. It's no longer that seller's, and they're under no more obligation. Your safety period and your inspection period is done with, so now it's yours. And I will tell you, I have had clients go through the process. They've had an inspection. Everything was great. And then a year later, the AC conks out unexpectedly, even though it wasn't necessarily at the end of life. And then, the seller or the buyers are like, hey, what do I do? I'm like, well, unfortunately, there is nothing we can do. It's your home now. It sucks, but that's the truth. Eric?
The famous Latin phrase, caveat emptor, as they say, which means let the buyer beware.
Let the buyer beware. That's exactly it. So when we talk about new construction, and this is obviously a big part of our topics here together, new construction is a different conversation. And I will tell you that daily, including this morning, because I had an experience myself, other than the ER visit, that is going to cause me to adapt how I advise my clients. So I have always said that my measure of a builder is how they recover when something goes wrong, because something always does. And it could be something that's going wrong during the construction process. It can be something that's wrong when we're at the new homeowner orientation or at the pre-drywall walkthrough, or it could be 2 months after you've closed on the home. There are going to be things that go wrong with it. We are imperfect humans that build these homes. And so things are going to happen, right? You can't control everything. So that is why the builder provides you with a warranty. And the builder's warranty typically is a 1 to 10. 1 year, pretty much everything, kind of a bumper to bumper. Again, not if you get mad or if you scratch a wall or things like that, but they'll come back and they'll address things that are going to present themselves. Because remember, the home is also settling during that first year. And so as it does, cracks can come into the exterior stucco. It can come to the corners of your interior walls. Maybe that means because that's settled, maybe the caulk or the grout has also cracked. So there's things that are going to happen. And those are the things that typically can be covered by a builder in that 1 year warranty. So my suggestion is that, yes, I see that one. My suggestion is that before your 1 year warranty is up with the builder, that you get an inspection done. That is what I suggest that you do. I think that is important. I would not be, completely vocal that that's what you're doing to the builder, only because some builders look negatively on that, which, by the way, should tell you something. But just get an inspection done and then use your warranty portal or your warranty contact, however that works for you with your builder, to enter in those items that need attention. And that should be covered with no pushback from the builder, by the way. It should be with no pushback from the builder. I'm going to say that one more time. Should be no pushback from the builder, because if that warranty truly covers the majority of those things, again, within reason, right? If you scratch a wall, bringing your furniture in, the builder is not obligated to fix that. Even if you put a hole in the wall because the movers bumped the corner of a dresser moving it in, that's not the builder's responsibility. But common sense things, all of a sudden this faucet on the right, it's fickle. It doesn't work all the time, or this is happening over here. Those are the types of things that the builder should cover. Now, here's my thing, and I'm actually going through this right now. People talk a lot about how they appreciate the transparency that Eric and I provide, and I think that's important because everything we do is customer service related. I mean, yes, we're helping our clients buy homes and we're advising them as to what to expect and what is a real and an unrealistic expectation at any point in any concept of the process of building or buying or selling a home. But currently, I'll tell you my story, and I'm going to tell you who it is because I'm going to call them later because this is not cool. So here is an example, my friend. So we have been in our home about 18 months now. So we are out of our 1 year warranty. I did do a 1 year, 1 year inspection. I did file that under the warranty with the builder. Again, the things that were important, right? And they eventually came out and took care of them. I also had some issues with warranty because it seems like the warranty people change a lot within a company. And that's also very frustrating for anyone because you are counting on them to take care of you. And I try to be a good advocate for my clients, but a good communicator in letting them know what the builder is probably going to respond or how they are going to respond so that there's no kind of a discrepancy. I am not a magical person where I can push a button or I have one contact where I can reach out and make everything hunky-dory. But I can tell you based off of experience and stories what we could, would, should expect. So my son's room, he has his whole room of his, well, it's like a little mini apartment, right? It's a bedroom with a little sitting area and the little wet bar that we just talked about where he dropped the bowl and cut his wrist this morning. So that room has always been extremely opposite of what the temperature is supposed to be. So when it is supposed to be cool because we've got the AC running, it is blazing hot in there. And on those times when the weather dips here in Florida for like those 3 magical days, it can be a little colder. I always assumed for the past year and 3 months that it was just because it backs up to a garage, it backs up to an exterior wall on the side of the home, and a good portion of the other side backs up to the front courtyard. So 3 of the walls of his room face the exterior. And so maybe it's just hotter there, right? If you've ever had a bedroom that's over top of a garage, you know that sometimes because of the insulation and the way it works, that room can have a different temperature control. So that's what I thought was going on. I was like, well, maybe it's just because it's that. Well, the reality is no, there's something wrong. It's way too hot. We actually had to buy a separate AC, like window unit for his bedroom to make it so that he could actually just stay in the room. That's how bad it is. So I finally reached out to my warranty department, put in the claim, and my response this morning, and I'm not going to read it to you verbatim, that I will tell you, looking at your original closing date, I cannot expedite this claim. Your 1-year warranty has expired. I went through all of your previous claims to see if there could possibly be an ongoing issue. I did not find any HVAC issues in the history. I would recommend you reach out to an HVAC company and get the system checked. Okay, it's not that. And then there's another thing that he mentioned. But my point is, I would like to advise you, customer service people who deal with warranty. People aren't trying to get something for nothing. They want to be taken care of. They spent a lot of money, probably the biggest purchase they're ever going to make in their entire life. Even if it's a $200,000 home in a market where they're also selling $1 million homes, that could be the life savings of someone. And if you are providing a warranty, and if there is a 2-year electrical, plumbing, and HVAC that covers behind the wall, your response shouldn't be, you have no other complaints about it, so I'm not going to expedite it, and I suggest you just call the HVAC company and let them check it out. Perhaps your response could have been, that's unfortunate. Let me send someone out to take a look at it. You're out of your 1-year warranty. So let's have the AC company kind of assess and evaluate what it is. And if it falls under the parameter of our 2-year warranty, we're going to get everything taken care of for you as quickly as possible. That's at least how you answer it, my friends. So can you tell that I'm pissed? I am really pissed. Yeah. And I will tell you, you know who my builder is. Should I say it?
Say it.
It's Mattamy. And I love Mattamy. Mattamy has been good to me in other aspects of real estate. They have not been good to me, however, in my warranty items. The fact that I had to wait over a year for garage doors, and when I finally questioned them about it face to face, and he gets on the phone with the garage door company and they have no record of me even needing the garage doors, that tells me that the warranty person wasn't following up and doing their due diligence on behalf of me, which is any home buyer out there. So I'm a little mad, and I'm going to be taking care of that later on this afternoon. Yes, sir.
I just going to share. This is what Amy looks like mad.
This is what I look like mad. Well, and seriously, I am a nice person, and I really do try to get things done and taken care of for my clients in a nice way, because I really do feel like that gets you further. But I have found in these situations, I have done everything I can. I reach out to my first warranty guy. He's no longer the warranty guy. I reach out to the second warranty guy, and my response from him is, hey, I don't deal with Hawksmoor anymore. I'm in another area. Okay, great. So then I'm calling my other builder contacts. I called the guy who built my home, because not only did he build my home, but he's built so many of my clients' homes, and he's great. And so I said, hey, can I ask you a question, like off the side? Like, I'm not obligating you to anything. I'm just asking for some advice. Like, is it a flaw of my floor plan? Because that could be it. It could be a structural flaw, like, oh, that room is a little, whatever. There's not enough vents that go to it. I don't know what it is. I asked neighbors in my community that have the same floor plan. It's just me. I'm the one with the issue. So there's something wrong. And I hate the implication. I'm getting so pissed.
I know.
I hate it when anybody's first response is that you're wrong and that I'm going to pass it off and it's not my problem. That's what I don't like. I do. I'm like, you know, you can tell me it's not your problem in a nicer way.
But just to wrap things up with this subject, what do you feel like it's like when you go in there on a hot day in Dawson's room? What's it like?
It's a Heatwave.
Thank you. That was my way of helping you move on from your anger.
I know. No, I think that's important. And that really is referencing Allie's thing. So here's my question or my point to Allie's. You are protected. There is a warranty that the builder provides to you. And they are, honestly, I will say they're really good about honoring that 1 year. Clearly, anything beyond that, they start to be a little bit more nitpicky on, with good reason, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that take advantage of that. But I think it's important to make sure that you're doing all of your own homeowner due diligence, of course. I do think it's important for you to make a running list that first year and be as critical as you can on your home, and then just kind of make the builder take care of all those items. There was a question here that somebody asked, Raymond Sheffield, you said, do sellers offer warranties? So this is a good question to kind of tie back on that. So here's the thing. If it is a resale home, there is a section in the offer, in the contract, where we submit that offer to the homeowner, where we can request that they provide a 1-year home warranty. There are some sellers where, you know, depending on their situation, where I've had the home listed and I've said, why don't we offer the 1-year warranty? That will help give them peace of mind. That's usually like $500 to $600 in the grand scheme of these hundreds of thousands. That's a great little extra thing to throw in. So yes, in answer to your question, you can, like you randomly, whoever you are out there, like and subscribe. All of you people randomly out there you can go to a home warranty company and purchase one yourself. And you can get them, you can tier them up and you can get it to cover everything. Sometimes they don't cover appliances. Sometimes you can get the level that does cover appliances. It really is just a matter of whether or not that warranty is going to, you know, if that's going to work for you. I feel like, you know, that's a small price to pay for a little bit of extra peace of mind if they do take care of something. But at any rate, you know, as always, do your own due diligence and research on that. But yes, in answer to your question, sellers can provide, and you can also request them. You can also request that.
Shout out to your audience. We have the best questions.
Yeah?
This is the best questions today. Really good.
All right, so let me see. Let me go. All right, hold on. Because I have, all right, see, these are questions. So let me do a quick see over here. We got Rob's. We got Allie's answer. Why don't ponds near houses have fences?
Yeah. They're down to the bottom.
Down the bottom.
It's like the last three questions. They're just all good.
Rob, with a multi-generational home, can you have 2 full kitchens, or would that throw you into a whole different category of housing like duplex or villa? That's a fantastic question, Rob. Yeah. So Rob, here is one of my favorite floor plans, and this is by D.R. Horton, and it is called the Camden, Camden. They are building this in several communities, and it is truly a multi-generational home. Boy, I wish I had that floor plan around me, but I don't. But I'll find it for you. The Camden floor plan is a 1-story floor plan, a little over 2,700 square feet. It is a 1-story, and it is a 3-car garage. I believe it is. I could be wrong on that one. But it is basically 2 little houses. The multi-gen part, like there's a door that comes out of the garage and then into the other multi-gen in-law suite home. So it not only connects into the house, like house to house, but it also has its own private entrance. So somebody could go into that garage, they could go out that garage door and into their home without ever accessing the main section of the home. And in that case, it is a full living room, kitchenette, and then a bedroom and a bathroom, like the whole kit and caboodle. There's also some other multi-gen floor plans that I also like, that also have like full kitchens. So it is still considered a single family home. It's just multi-generational. And that doesn't mean that it's in a different category. It just gives it a different distinction, which is super helpful when you have clients that have, you know, mom or dad or mom-in-law or dad-in-law or grandma, somebody that needs to live with them. So it's not a duplex or a villa. That's a different home concept altogether, but multi-gen is definitely kind of its own thing. So that's a really good question, Rob. Rob, you always have good questions. Beth Burns, if you paint the walls after you move in, when the 1-year warranty kicks in, is there any and there are any interior cracks due to settling, does the builder fix them in the new color? So I learned this, my sweet friend Beth, this window behind me. So when we had Hurricane Ian, we had some water intrusion. Again, was not worried at all that it was a deficiency in the construction. It is a mere symptom of rain coming at you like this, and sometimes rain scooping up because of the fierce winds. And then when that happens, it can be a problem and water can get in. So when that happened, and it kind of came down the interior of that, when the painter came back out, they don't have our paint color because we painted our home as soon as we moved in. So no, they will only paint it the color that it was. Now, if you give them that paint, that's not a problem. I'm sure they would paint it with the paint that you provide, but they're not going to go out and get the special color that you did. So I would imagine, yes, if you give them that paint, they will do that. But if left to their own device, they'll do the plain color that it was built with. Yes, sir?
Since we're naming names today, there is a builder, rhymes with Stenar, that they told us they don't even cover the cracks in the thing.
Yeah, so that was in a community here recently. We were doing a new homeowner walkthrough with some clients, and we were talking about that same thing I advised you earlier, right? About doing a 1-year warranty. Take note of those things, and that the builder usually comes back and does a one-time settling crack fix. Most builders, but this builder said no, they don't. Now that's what the builder who built their home told me. So if that is not a corporate policy, I am only repeating what that builder said to me in front of my clients, or to my clients in front of me, put it that way. All right, quick couple other questions, and we're going to move on with this. Florida man, problems will always occur. That is why it is important for you to pick an experienced realtor buying or selling. Your thoughts? Yes, sir. Wow. Thank you for that setup, my friend. Yes, honestly, I do. Like I said, I don't have a magic button, but I do know the best way to advise clients on either side, whether it's, yes, this is absolutely unacceptable, and boom, 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 we're gonna, get them to take care of this and demand some attention. And then there are things where I'm like, that's not really under the scope of what the builder is required to fix. They should, but should and being required to are two different things. And that is what sets some of the builders apart, in my opinion, because there's a lot of builders that do what they should, and there's some builders that only do what they have to. That sucks. Anyway, I said sucks a lot. I have a bad word today. I've had a bad day. All right, let's move on. A couple other ones. Disney Girl CT, why not address issues with builder at I don't know what the rest of that was, my sweet friend. Let's just speculate.
I bet she'll come back.
Yeah, come back and let me know. Laura, what is the typical timeline for a closing walkthrough on new construction? Are you seeing more builders pushing for less than a week? I heard some like 2 days before closing. Okay, that's a great question. So it is supposed to be, and again, there's no law, right? But the standard, and I always say the industry standard, is that your new homeowner orientation is done 1 week prior to closing. That is kind of the norm. That's pretty much what the builder needs. Because remember, if it's like a Monday new homeowner orientation and then a Monday closing, that's really only 4.5 to maybe 5 days, depending on when your new homeowner orientation is, prior to closing. That's builder days that they can get things done. Because even though trades work on homes over the weekend, the builders do not, right? Not generally. I have seen a couple out there, so kudos to you guys and gals. But generally speaking, it should be a week, Laura. It absolutely should be a week. However, I have had some builders sometimes at my client's request because of logistical problems because they lived out of state, and I have had some clients, need more time. So I have had new homeowner orientations like 3 days prior, and I have had clients where it was like 10 days prior. So it can be done. It should be a week. I feel like a week gives the builder enough time to get those, because it should only be smaller items, right, that need to be taken care of from that new homeowner orientation. Paint, drywall touch-ups, those things are super fast. And remember, they've already got them scheduled anyway. Regardless of when your new homeowner orientation is, the builders already have a paint crew, a drywall crew, a cabinet bump, and a cleaning crew scheduled. Again, 9 times out of 10, they've already got that on the books. So it's really just a matter of taping up and making note of the things that need to be addressed. If it is less than a week, I definitely advise you to be very, very thorough with that new homeowner orientation and have every single thing documented. I did have a client, and actually it was a very important person to us. The builder required them to do the new homeowner orientation the day before they closed. You know what I'm talking about? And by the way, still 2 months later, still have issues that should have been taken care of during the new homeowner orientation that are still needing to be addressed. And this is why when people, I think this is important. It is absolutely important to do your best to require that the builder get these things taken care of in an efficient timeline so that you don't have to rely on warranty. Because I'm just going to be honest, I've yet to have a fantastic experience with warranty. I have an experience where they have done what they're supposed to. And in my opinion, that's what they're supposed to do. I haven't had one that was so stellar and above what I expected that I would be singing their praises right now. Generally, the stories you hear are the nightmare ones where they're passing you off. They're saying it's not my problem, things like that. But yes, you should have a week. Yes, sir.
And this is a window into working with Amy, is that so she's really mad about our own personal issue. When it's your client's issue, you get like 14 times more angry. You're still very nice to everyone on the phone, but I just always think you're a great advocate for your clients, is my point. I'm a great advocate for our viewers today that are asking the best questions.
I know. Here's another good one, so I'm going to go on with it. And then I'll get to these. We have so many fun segments we need to get to, so I'm going to do this, and then we'll get to some of our fun stuff. So this is fantastic. Gosh, you guys are good. Why wait 11 months for inspection? And why is it that expected new build construction can be delivered with items that can be easily fixed prior to closing? So fantastic question. So first of all, the 11-month is my suggestion, and here's why. You have 1 year where the builder should theoretically take care of everything. If you do an inspection 1 month after you've moved in, you can do that and you can file that under the warranty. But what if 3 months later, now that the AC's been running for 3 more months, now there's all of a sudden a problem that's presented itself right then. So when I say 11 months, all I'm trying to do is have you maximize the most amount of time that you have in your home to allow you time to get the inspection scheduled, done, completed, receive the inspection report, and file it under warranty so that there's no pushback on timeline. So that's why I tell people 11 months. By the way, you can get an inspection scheduled usually within a week. And then you usually get that inspection report the day after the inspection is done. So it's not like it's a month to get all that information, but just in case you need that extra little bit of a buffer, that's why I say 11 months. And I say that because you can get an inspection done on your home prior to closing and you might find something in there. But usually 99 times out of 100, what you find in that is not going to have any relevance on whether or not the builder is going to be able to close on the home. Because by then the builder has received that certificate of occupancy, they have passed all of their inspections by the county, and so they've got a green light for you to close, right? So that's not going to keep you from closing. In fact, the contract says when the builder is ready to close, you're supposed to close. And so, yes, then on to your second part of the question, which is why is it expected to build new construction can be delivered with items that can be easily fixed prior to closing? So they should be. The reality is they should be. And in most cases, they are. They are. You're going to see in a little bit, I'm going to tease a little video that we've got coming up Thursday, I believe. This is a client who moved in their home about a month ago, and they're still missing a drawer in their cabinet. Okay, that's not something as easy as doing a paint touch-up, right? They have to order that cabinet piece, and it's going to be a while for that to come in. It's part of just the orders, delays, back orders, things like that. That's fine. It's on the builder's list. That will be taken care of. We're just waiting for it to be done. But smaller things that you see at your new homeowner orientation, paint and drywall, things like that, getting the cabinets adjusted if they're a little tight or things like that, that absolutely should be done before you close. It absolutely should be. You shouldn't be signing off on a home where it's got paint touch-up, drywall here. That's kind of inexcusable if you ask me. Yes,
on
sir.
that note, why don't you talk about your secret, the secret that we know?
Okay, do my secret.
Right,
so here's my secret. Here's my secret. Okay, so this is my sweet friend and client. Can I say her name? I'm just going to say Sue. I won't say the last name. And Ivy, the dog. Ivy is so adorable. So Sue is a client of mine. They, up until now, they hold the record for the longest time from contract to close. They are at 2 years, but they did close on their home, right? I think just shy of the 2-year mark, or right around it. Built a beautiful home in the Winter Garden area, and we did a tour of their home, and we're going to share that with you on Thursday. And the reason we're sharing it with you is because they built with a very popular builder called Dream Finders. They built the floor plan called the Biscayne. And the Biscayne is a very popular floor plan, but they don't have any decorated featured models of it. So
now they do.
Now they do. So we asked Sue, and she was incredibly gracious to allow us to come into their home, mind you, not a model home, their home that they just closed on a month ago. Since then, they've had some wonderful things done. They've got a guy that came in and added a fireplace, and they've done some shelving and things like that. But the home is beautiful, and so we're going to share that with you. And she is the example of they're missing a drawer. They're still missing one drawer. I think it's supposed to be coming in this week, but they've been waiting on it for a while. Not a problem. She's not worried. I'm not worried. It doesn't mean they can't live and function in their home. It's just a matter of supply issues.
Thursday on YouTube.
Thursday. So her home will be on Thursday on YouTube, like our typical video that goes out. Anyway, all right. So let's move on to something fun, shall we? What should we go to? Should we do? What do you want to do?
Why don't you crunch some numbers?
Crunch some numbers? Don't you want? They want something lighthearted. Okay, let's do crunch some numbers with Forrest. Is it this one?
No, here, do this. I have an idea. So here, let's go. Let's come back to you solo.
Ooh,
Let's find.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, we're so close to 40.
We're close to 40. Come on, you can do it. Are there any more questions? There's so many good ones.
Yeah, they were good, but no, I'm gonna Rob asked a good question here. This is good to lead you to what you're watching.
Oh, all my favorite shows are in reruns for a while. Any suggestions? Okay. All right, here you go, Rob. Let's do what I'm watching. Ooh, where is it? What I'm watching. I have bad eyes. Glasses. Okay, what I'm watching. Okay, so I just finished Pressure Cooker, a cooking show. Remember, my tastes are all over the place. There's only a couple things that I really don't like, but most things, this was only, I don't know, was it like 6 to 8 episodes? So I just watched one little season of that. I found it fun. So there's some shows, where you have to totally pay attention and you have to watch it and kind of comprehend it the whole time. This is one of those that was a little bit more lighthearted where you could actually be working and, sending texts on your phone or shopping on your phone. You could be doing a lot of other things while it was on. You don't have to fine tune in the whole time. But what it made me realize about myself is that I'm a horrible person because I don't cook. I didn't understand half of the things that they were saying, which were just basic ingredients and terms of types of food. But it looked beautiful. And, I remember way back when, I wrote a blog post. This was back before this. It was years and years and years ago. And I remember writing a blog post about how grateful I am for all of those people and those artists that do things with such care for a visual presentation that is so short-lived. Like, think about a cook, right? How they plate that food. It's like a masterpiece. And then you eat it. And then all of those cake and cupcake and all the bakers, these magnificent masterpieces. And you just look at it once and then you eat it, right? Same thing with flower arranging, right? Flower arranging, it's beautiful. And then the flowers kind of wither and die. So I'm just so appreciative of people that do that. So anyway, that's what I'm watching. However, Rob, let me just tell you this. So I finished Pressure Cooker. Currently, I'm watching something on Prime. What's it called? Prime? Amazon Prime. Yeah. Amazon Prime? I don't know. Prime Video. There you go. I'm watching something on Prime Video called From, F-R-O-M. And it's a little spooky. It's a little bit of a Stranger Things with The Walking Dead kind of a thing. And I'm only on episode 4. So I don't know. You might like that one. All right. And then what's your other one?
You have that.
Oh my gosh. Do you want me to do this or you want me to go through this one? Okay. All right. Good questions. Okay.
It's a great question.
All right. Beth Burns, is the closing walkthrough the same time as the final inspection from the independent inspector? No, ma'am. So if you are doing an outside third-party inspection, that has to be coordinated with the builder. And when I say builder, I don't mean the corporate builder. I mean your actual physical builder of your home, because he or she needs to make sure that that home is prepped and ready and presentable. For lack of a better word, finished enough and presentable for that inspector to come in to be able to really efficiently and effectively do their job, right? So it could be that they do that a week before when we do the new homeowner orientation, or it could be done slightly after that. My suggestion is that you have your third-party inspection just before or right at the exact same time as the new homeowner orientation, because we need to note everything at that new homeowner orientation that we need to have the builder address. So if we do that on a Monday and we're supposed to close on that next Monday, but Friday is when you have your independent inspector come out and they do things, well, we haven't given the builder enough time to address those issues. And the builder's not going to care. They're still going to make you close. So the best answer is to try to match up your new homeowner orientation with your third-party inspection, but preferably have that the day or 2 days before the new homeowner orientation so we can get the inspection list and we can then present it at that time of new homeowner orientation with the builder. So that's the best time to do it. But we can coordinate that. So when we get to that point, my friend, we'll get that all set up for you. Okay, let's see if there was another one. There was. Ben, another Ben. Okay. Once you have a closing date, are you typically okay to order appliances or furniture? I guess that if the closing is moved, it will cause all sorts of jujitsu with the deliveries. Any thoughts? Oh, yes, my friend. Yes. So true story. Again, I like to share stories because that's how we really get the reality of what's happening and not just, arbitrary stuff floating in the atmosphere, like real, earthy things. So if the builder provides you with their closing date, and by the way, this is important, okay? Let's say that you have a home that you purchase with a builder that's already under construction when you purchase it, right? And they have an estimated completion date, and they say, okay, you know what? It's estimated to be completed the end of July. Don't order your appliances to be delivered quite yet, because it's not until we're about 30 days out from closing, which is when they're going to give you the actual closing date. So when we get that 30-day notice from the title company or from the builder where they'll say, congratulations, it's time to close on your new home. Your new homeowner orientation has been scheduled, or new homeowner demonstration, again, they all call it something else. That walkthrough has been scheduled for such and such a date, and your closing has been scheduled for such and such a date. At that time, in my opinion, yes, you can start to order that your things be delivered. But my suggestion is don't have it delivered the day of closing. Have it delivered the day after closing, just to make sure that if closing gets pushed back by a couple of hours or if there's any kind of issues, that you give yourself that extra little bit of buffer. Now, here's the thing, and this is where I can be a good advocate for my client, because we talk about expectation. If the builder is ready to close and you're ready to close, they're going to make you close. You can't just change your mind at the last minute and go, it's not convenient for me. Can we move it? No. But if they give you a closing date and then the builder has a problem and they're like, you know what? I am so sorry. We're going to have to push that closing back a week. Okay, so this is actually a situation that's happening with clients of mine right now. They were given a closing date and they've ordered stuff to start to be delivered. They don't have a place to stay because they thought they were going to be there. Now closing has been pushed back a week. Well, now we have a little bit of leverage with the builder to say, hey, look, we understand that things happen. We're not mad that closing had to be pushed. We appreciate that you're taking the time to get the home prepped and ready for us in a timely manner. However, you did give us a closing date, which was basically our green light. It was our thumbs up. Okay, guys, this is when you're going to get the keys to your home. And then all of those things that you just mentioned, Ben, are starting to get into play. The pod's going to be picked up. The pod's going to be delivered. The movers are coming. The blind installation people are coming. Furniture's being delivered. All of that stuff, Spectrum is coming. All of those things are starting to get scheduled based on what the builder told us. Now, if the builder needs to move it, now we go to the builder. We're like, look, we understand and we appreciate it, but this is a huge inconvenience, which we also understand is not necessarily your fault. However, the biggest inconvenience at the moment is that my clients have nowhere to stay. So, true story, in this particular case, we've worked with the builder and they are doing a very nice concession to the buyer to basically say, we're sorry, you're going to have to go stay in a hotel for an extra week. This is how much we're going to give you to cover those expenses. Doesn't mean you can set yourself up in a 5-star. Doesn't mean you can go on vacation for a week and have the builder cover it. But it does mean that a commonsensical approach to the builder understanding that they did something on their end that's inconvenienced you. So they're going to be a little bit kinder and more generous. So hopefully that sort of answered your question. But it does happen, unfortunately. It doesn't happen that often, but it can happen. Okay, let's move on to something else. Yes, sir?
We have a really great question for a really handsome man.
You have that would be you? Eric says, I have a really great question from a really handsome man. Oh, it's you.
It's me.
I'd love to be able to see Coffee Time produced live. Yes. Here. So yes, I was going to get there. So I was. We just have a lot going on today. So yes, we are actually going to do Coffee Time live on Monday, July 3rd at 9 a.m. at Filigree Coffee House, which is also the Home State Brewing Company here in the Hamlin shopping area in Horizon West. That's the address. We have a mailer. Where's that one, Daddy?
Well, you can go to that if you want. Right. It is right there.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Crunching the numbers?
Oh, no, that's your intro. Don't worry about it.
Anyway, well, there is a flyer that's going out.
Here, I got it.
Okay. There's we have a postcard rather that's going out. There it is. This postcard is going out to all the homes here in Disney's backyard. So if you live here, you should be receiving this in your mailbox later this week, I guess. Maybe next week.
It'll be next week.
Probably next week. But if you bring this on the back side of it, I think it has the information on Filigree Coffee House.
Is that exact thing you?
That the same little thing, yeah. So if you bring that card, coffee is on us, but we will be doing Coffee Time live there on Monday, July 3rd at 9 a.m. at Filigree. So
yes.
Good question, handsome man.
Do wishes?
Wishes, here we go. Okay, so this is our wishes come true. These are some congratulations for this week. And again, there's always more things happening, but we like to kind of give a shout out here and there. So congratulations to Paul and Helen. Their home that we are selling for them is closing on the 15th. Congratulations to Scott and Shannon, who are also my clients who are actually buying Paul and Helen's home. So congratulations all the way around. And then before I get to the last one, I do want to mention that. So if you're thinking, wait, she had a home and then she also had the buyers. Yes. And that's something that maybe we can talk about on next week's Coffee Time about how that works as a realtor, how they advocate for you if you are representing both the buyer and the seller. Like, how does that work? So in this case, beautifully, it worked beautifully because Paul and Helen are selling their home. So a beautiful young couple, Scott and Shannon, and everyone's going to be super happy. And representing both sides actually was a benefit to both parties. So we'll talk about that next week. Shelly and Dennis. So super excited about this one. Shelly is here with us on Coffee Time quite a bit. And they came into town and they did it, my friends. They contracted.
They're with us today.
They are they with us today?
Yeah.
I'm going to call Shelly in a little while. So they contracted on a beautiful home while they were here. Honestly, it was absolutely gorgeous. We saw, gosh, I don't know, what did we see, like five or six homes that day when I was out with them, all of which were good, viable options. And then it ended up being kind of like a Goldilocks and the Three Bears, where it was like one home was fantastic, one home was pretty daggone good. It was just a little bit smaller, and one was kind of met in the middle. And we can share a little bit more of their story later once I find out how much of the story they want me to share. But congratulations
to Nick, by the way, also who contracted Nick.
Yes, Nick Izzy. Yes. Yep. Last name. Sorry. Thank you, Nick. Yes, Nick also contracted. Yes, here on in a community nearby as well. Super excited about that. So we got lots of good stuff happening. Then, yep.
Well, I was going to say, so why don't you do what you? Because I think you were disappointed that we weren't going to do it. So because you wanted to see your boy. So go ahead and do it.
I'm going to go ahead and do it. Where here?
It's right there.
All right. So we'll do one more little segment, and then we'll probably scoot.
Aura just released their May stats, and it included 2 data points that surprised me. New listings in Orlando were up 5% from the previous month, but down 20% from year to year. Also, the average sale price year to year only increased 2% for the same period, but we're up 2% from month to month. That's for the whole Orlando area, though. Are you feeling those same trends with buyers and sellers in Disney's backyard?
So we're back to that same little postcard we showed you a minute ago. So great questions for us. Forrest, he does a lot of the super deep dive into the data, does a lot of the what do you call it, Eric?
He's wicked smart.
He is wicked smart.
Data analysis.
Data analysis. I always want to say a different word, and that's not it. So data analysis. So he really can help us have all of these facts and figures at a moment's notice, which is super helpful for us to be able to to do what it is that we do and to have the numbers that are accurate and that are up to date, right? Instead of just waiting for a monthly report. But part of what Forrest's question is are we seeing that same thing here in Disney's backyard? The answer is no, not really. So, what we'll talk about when we do, I don't know if we're going to push that button or not, the market update, but what you'll notice is in Disney's backyard, it was like, what was it, 5% in the other one? So it's like 5 to 10% in Disney's backyard, right?
Well, no,
and
so,
then we've
so
got...
It was 5%. So basically, the one stat was that listings are up 5% month to month, but down 20% year to year.
Right. And then in Disney's backyard, though, we're up more like 5 to 10% for those listings, correct? So we've got, we have a little...
I have confused you with two sets of numbers.
You did?
Yes. Well, because we're talking about two different things.
Oh, well, what am I talking about?
The one was that we were up 2% year to year in Orlando. Home values are up 2% year to year. In Disney's backyard, we're up more like 10%.
Right. So we're talking the Orlando as a whole, but we always talk about our little nugget, which is Disney's backyard. So on that note, you want to hit the other one real fast?
You can hit it real quick, but first let me just point out, like on this card that we're showing, that's why we show you on that card
all of that.
Orlando, Disney's backyard, and then the individual villages, because depending on where you are, it can be very different. So.
Yeah, and the card I think is super helpful. Remember, this is an actual postcard that's going out to our community, right? To all of our friends and neighbors here in Disney's backyard.
If you live in Hickory Nut or Sidell, you'll get that card. If you live in Bridgewater or Hamlin, you'll get a card. Right.
So it's super important that it is very much dialed into your area. We get, and I'm sure you do too, we get lots of postcards from realtors that are like, 5 homes sold in your neighborhood. Great. That's good to know, but it really is nice to know a little bit deeper, a little bit more, specific to where we are and what is happening around us is super important. So hopefully this postcard that's going out will be super helpful too. All right. So are we going to say goodbye now?
No, just hit the market update.
Market update. Okay. We're going to do the market update and then I promise we're going to go. It's been a long one today. Okay, we'll just zoom through this one really fast. This is just because we do this for you every Monday. We don't want to miss one in case you happen to be tracking the numbers like we do. You can see last week's market pulse to this week's market pulse. Again, if you take a look at the days on the market, that's kind of an important one for us. We like to pay attention to that absorption rate, the 30 days to 32 days. We just, it's still cranking here. I really just have to say, we're still really super busy out in this area. We have, how would you explain to them the difference between the 2-day difference that we have, right? If last week the absorption rate was 30 days and this one is 32, how would you explain it to them as what that means as a seller or as a buyer?
Right. That is that's a 30-day absorption rate, which means in 1 week, our 30-day rate moved 2 days, okay? All you really have to judge by it, since it's not a huge shift, is direction. Right. So take the directionality of that. That means we have more homes on the market right now than we had last week. And if you look at those numbers, if you look at the closed numbers, right?
Yeah, 146 last week, 157.
So we closed a lot more homes this week. Mm-hmm. So those homes are now not in the market anymore.
Right.
And then 166 versus 145. So we did have more homes come on the market.
Right.
But again, that's the number of homes that come on the market in the last 30 days.
Right.
So that bump is a pretty good bump. But
if you think about that, if you're a seller, then you think about, okay, well, there's a few more houses. So if there's a few more, and by the way, not a substantial amount, but if there's a few more houses on the market, then that's more competition for you if a buyer is out there looking. And that also could potentially mean that there's a little bit more time for your home to be on the market. Back in the feeding frenzy, it was 4 days, right? So we're talking, it's taking a lot longer to sell a home, comparatively speaking, but we're not in that. That was a one and done, right? I don't know that we're going to have that cuckoo crazy frenzy happening again anytime soon. It'd be great, but this just kind of helps you a little bit to kind of visualize that. Okay,
go there before we go, just because that sort of relates to the point.
Okay, whatever happened with that?
We talked about last week. That Forrest brought us last week.
It's still there.
Still on the market. Haven't lowered the price.
No, yeah,
it's not selling.
No price reduction. It's still there. Nothing happening to it at all. So it's very frustrating. Honestly, it's very, very, very frustrating when you We have another listing that'll be coming active at some point in the near future in a 55 plus community. And there are 2 homes on that same exact street listed by a different realtor, both of which are ridiculously overpriced, and they're not going to sell. And so that puts those of us who have the correct data information to share can appear to be disappointing. Although I will say lately, we've had some really great, clients as sellers that do understand what's going on, and they do see the cuckoo crazy. So their mindset is a little bit more realistic. And so that's been very, very comforting as we go and meet with them one-on-one to talk about listing their home, that their heart number, we call it, is in line with what the data supports, that we're not talking 2 different financial spectrums. Yes, sir.
That's a good, the one you're talking about that we have a listing appointment for tomorrow. Mm-hmm. The home directly across the street is overpriced by $35,000. Now, it's disappointing for us because then we have to talk to the seller and go, well, you notice it hasn't sold in 85 days.
Right.
This is part of the value of why we dig in so deep, why we have Forrest that just digs in these numbers all the time, is because now that's to our advantage. We know what the actual market value is, but truth is we can bump that up a little bit for our seller because we can point across the street and go, it's exactly the same floor plan. It's across the street, and that one's $30,000 more.
Yeah.
This house is slightly newer, and so when you have that data at your fingertips, it ends up in more money for our clients.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, as we wrap it up, I do want to put one more time. Coffee Time Live on Monday, July 3rd at Filigree Coffee House at Home State Brewing Company here in the Hamlin area in Horizon West. Bring your card with you if you happen to be one of our friends and neighbors from the area and you can attend. You get free coffee from us. Bring a friend, bring a neighbor. I don't know how it's going to go. Eric's always wanted to do this and go somewhere and to do this kind of out in the community. We are very much community based, and so we want to do something to help not only support Filigree Coffee House, but to support our community and to help us kind of gather and hang out and have a cup of coffee. So those of you that join us all the time, could you please come and join us all the time, even if it's here, so that I can feel comfortable, because I'm nervous.
And we'll buy you a cup of coffee as well. You don't
yeah.
You people, we'll maybe on next week's show, we'll put something in the comments where you can go to a link that you can get a thing. Because all we have to do is talk to the people at Filigree and say, if they bring you these things.
Yeah.
So even if you don't get a postcard for some reason, but you're here.
Yeah, because if you live in Claremont,
you
could be a client of mine living in Claremont and you're not going to get this postcard.
But do us a favor, tell us who you are by your screen name.
Yeah, right.
We might be like, wow. So, unless your screen name is your name.
Yeah.
Okay,
cool.
I'm out.
Okay, all right. Well, with that, we are going to scoot as well. So thank you for bearing with us. I promise next Monday I will not hit the wrong button prior to starting, because when I do that, it screws everything up. And then Eric gets very mad, and then he hits those buttons and it makes me look like... All right, I'm going back to bed. All right, guys, as always, we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Please, these questions were phenomenal. This was a really, really good one. I wish I hadn't screwed up the beginning. All right, guys, as always, please stay safe, stay well. Remember, we love you, and happy house hunting. Bye, guys. See you next Monday.